We are getting started in here.
Dum, 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 dum.
Oh, this is a great day right now. What is it? The 20th, 19th, 21st, 21st of February. All right.
There you go.
We got a month left in February. How it is. I believe this is episode 18. I'm with the country cool boy, Cole Eden, right here. I didn't know what other name. I just thought of that off the top of my head.
Cool, I respect it. I like it.
Exactly with it. Well, it's now you don't have to do the long trek, so I don't need to call you the Oregon Trail.
Yeah, true. I don't have to drive 2.5, or I guess at that point it was like 5 certain nights.
I guess that's the benefit of now. Since the last episode, like you recorded with Seth, you had to do the long drive for us now, which I gotta say, definitely listening to it, it's good because it helps you progress. And let's just say 3 to 5 years, maybe you make another move and stuff.
Sure.
Because that's what I've thought, at least with myself personally. Like, don't get overzealous. Like, I know some people that are only a year or two in, like, oh, I'm gonna move to New York or Chicago or Austin or LA.
Totally.
It's like you gotta build yourself up.
Yeah, there's a progress for, especially like, everybody's so different that like you just have to feel it's right for you. Don't jump the gun. That's for sure. That's what I've noticed is like, oh man, it's nice to be self-aware, especially in doing comedy. I'm like, okay, I'm not good yet, but I will be.
Yeah. It's you want to find the improvements in your system. And
sure.
Like, okay, I knew I can do better here. Like I can do better with my crowd work, or I could do better with how I begin my set and such.
Being funny, is the issue I have.
Some people, they just get a 5 and they're like, I'm going to go everywhere with this 5 and guest spot.
Totally.
And I will surely get my chance to be a star with just 5 minutes. But no. But I know also, like, let's say I'm approaching my first year and I know I'm coming in on a quality 5 or maybe a little more of that. But let's just say in the new year, like starting with just a quality 5, I may only end my second year with a quality 7 or 8 because that first 5, I may switch out stuff. It's like, okay, this stuff is definitely not worth it. Let me put new stuff in.
I agree. I don't even know if I really have. I mean, I guess I technically have 5 minutes of material if I really search for it. But my goal right now is to try to do stuff that I'm proud of, which is hard because I don't even know if I have, I have like maybe 3 minutes of stuff I enjoy. You know what I mean? So it's, 4 months in, not too.
Yeah, well, I guess it's sometimes finding what the audience, they also enjoy. But if, let's say, that bit, you get sick of it because it's like, I'm annoyed the audience likes this, but I'm annoyed having to always perform it. Maybe see if you could tweak it in a way which makes it interesting. Point. Not too much, because obviously the whole thing is audience appeal, but just in a way that makes it more interesting to you.
Right, exactly. I agree.
Yeah, because I don't know, sometimes with bits, it's you have to come back to them, or you then later on get the idea, oh, that's how I approach the bit.
Sure, exactly.
Like I told you the one now, I'll tell it on camera now just because this will come out after I say it multiple times. But the most interesting injury from this Winter Olympics, a frozen penis from a cross-country skier. And you would think he was from some nation that doesn't get snow. No, he's Finnish, okay? This guy is a moron, whatever he is, okay? Antonio Brown gets freaking frostbite on cryptotherapy from his hands and the bottom of his feet. This guy is Finnish and he got a frozen dick, okay? We got to be honest. Like, yes, sure, we have our idiots in America. The problem is they get a chance to be on TV. In other countries, they don't get a chance to be on TV. Who knows about this Finnish skier, cross-country skier who had a frozen dick? Not many other people, but I learned about it, and it was a horrifying story.
That would suck, wouldn't it? That would be...
How do you get hyperthermia in your freaking penis?
I don't know, man. I don't know. He's touching himself too much while on the mountain, bro. Just fucking shoving
us. You should be Finnish and know like the secret ways to that because you're like the mix between Scandinavia and Russia and shit. Right. You should damn learn how to get that done because Finland was only formed after the USSR kind of went back and it's like, yeah, Finland could be their own thing. Or I should say maybe it was before USSR. Maybe it was before whatever, not Stalin, Lenin and stuff. I don't know. I don't know history as well. I know history moderately.
You're pretty good with it. You know it better than I do. I'm like...
Well, unfortunately, I was put against Asians early on in my life.
Yeah, that's...
Well, my hometown, it's more than half Asian. And I can tell you a moment, being in AP English my junior year, there was one half white girl, half Asian, and then a light-skinned black kid. And beyond that, the only kids in there were Asian or Indian.
Sure.
I am not lying with that.
Right.
I
believe it. Well, I stayed a summer in California with my cousin, and
But what part of it? We're
in
different
southern, so like Pasadena.
Southern, you guys are different than us.
Sure. No, I agree.
There.
But there's certain areas where it's still like I grew up with Mexicans my whole life, and then my cousin's Mexican, part Mexican, and I expected all of his friends to be Mexican just because I was used to it. And I got there, and everyone was Asian. And I was like, dude, all your Asians look Mexican, bro. What's going on?
If it was in Southern California, it was probably a bunch of Koreans. I expect.
It was, yeah, exactly.
Okay, yeah, because
all Koreans.
Bay Area were more like Chinese, Vietnamese. Like, I swear, after Chinese, I knew so many Vietnamese people. It was like, what the hell? I can't tell you how many Nings NG for their last names or Nguyens I know.
Sure.
There were so damn many.
Yeah, I believe it.
What was interesting about seeing so many damn Asians, and I think I spoke to Andy Chung about this, not in our podcast episode we recently recorded, but it's just, you get to see the full spectrum. Like, yes, there's obviously a lot of those smart-ass Asians, but have you ever seen a dumbass one? And I mean not one that's not a genius, not one that can get into a big university. I mean a moron, a complete moron. And it's like, oh, your parents must hate you.
Oh, well, it's a wide spectrum. It's like everybody. Like, there's certain parts of fucking everywhere, I guess you go. Especially, like, depending on money, I think a lot of the time when you're going to school, it doesn't always mean, at least the kids I knew growing up, doesn't always necessarily mean you're smart. It also just means you have enough money to go there, regardless of whether or not you got the grades.
Actually, that's part about the money. Yes, that's true. I only remember that because, let's just say someone in my high school class, his parents had a lot of money. Like, they were doctors, like, fully throughout the family.
Sure.
Like, I'll put it this way. In our area, which obviously is very expensive, Silicon Valley, they were able to buy the next property, bulldoze it over, and make a mega house.
Oh, my God.
Mind you, this kid is a moron as hell, and he's able to drive nice cars and stuff. So it's like, hey, that's the equivalent of the freaking Beverly Hills moron that we got down here.
Yeah. Work hard or be born in the right family. That's it.
Yeah, or one of the people in our class, they got valedictorian. They were given I believe it was a Ford Charger or Ford Mustang or some sports car as a present for getting a perfect score on the SAT, whatever it is, 2400 or something. Mm-hmm. And like, they even thought she cheated at one point. She took it again. She got it. Like, I'm not gonna like say she's not smart. She definitely is smart. But let's just say she even crashed that car, and her parents moronically bought her another just because she got into Brown University. She was one of the valedictorians, and
that's like different kinds of smart, right? Because you can be school smart and then you're like going and crashing cars and you're like, well,
true. I remember that on my street. There was one kid. He was actually a very dickhead to me, so I don't mind saying his name, Shahab. I remember him crashing a street he crashed his car into a neighbor's house down the street, and I remember going down and seeing him all disappointed and stuff. And I thought, you know what, I won't go after him, whatever. But then I saw him in English class later on when I was picking something from my English teacher, and he tried to say something smart, Alec.
Yeah.
So what do you think I did? I brought up him crashing into a neighbor, like someone we knew in our class.
Oh, is that what you said when you crashed your car, bro? Is that what you said?
It's like, do you even know how to drive a car now? It's like, I saw you crash into and he like sunk in. So like, you would think a ridiculous claim like that in high school, you think, oh, like he would backtrack that, but he sunk into a seat. So like everyone else knows,
you're
like,
right, bro.
Oh, he probably did it because it wasn't like known around school. He crashed the car into a house, but
yeah,
he did. And even the kid he came near, like he drove across another kid who was in my graduating class. I'll say his full name, Denzel Diamond, because I remember I think it was 28 or going into 2019, the new year, or 2018, the new year. He saw me come to his front door in just Calvin Klein underwear, but. Yeah, this dumbass kid drove across, and there were two other kids with him that I know would abandon, which me and the other kid knew who they were, but we weren't running to tell just because, like, they didn't get involved.
Right.
It was the other kid, he got in trouble, and it was one of those where I realized you will get schadenfreude with these people who are dickheads to you in school.
Right.
Whether it be they end up dead, they end up brain dead, they end up having multiple children before 25. Not just one, multiple children before 25. Or the worst of all, you stay in your hometown and you never do anything different, which is the most occurring one.
I think that's a common thing with hometowns, or at least not hometowns, small towns. I think people end up. I think it's pretty. I mean, it's kind of. I mean, in a way, it's easy, but it depends, because there's also people who like don't leave around the same time as everyone else, but they end up leaving in general, and then there's some people who end up staying forever. Which is something I found is more common than just like a single small town. That's everywhere, bro.
Staying forever. That just like kind of question because it's like at that point you might as well spend 5-6 years somewhere else and then come back.
Sure, yeah, and people do because they know I think that they're gonna come back.
Yeah.
Some people figure it out.
Well, I mean, I guess if you experience somewhere else and then leave, it's like okay, at least you experience somewhere else,
right?
Yeah, because if you just stay in one area, you're not really trying to see, hey, does some area else fit me?
Right.
Like, at least how I found here fit me more. Now, it wasn't just as a way to not live with my parents anymore, since I know so many people my age who still live with their parents or their older siblings who still live with their parents because housing prices in the Bay Area compared to here are like 3 times higher.
Oh, 100%.
Oh, I'd like to say, take any house here, times it by 3, and that's what you got in the Bay Area.
Oh, man, I know. It's insane.
That's well, if you want to live near Facebook headquarters, of course you got to do this.
And well, for a while, I wanted to move to California, and at a certain point, it just wasn't feasible. Because I think there was a lot of parts of California that I love still. I love the city idea. That's why, I do enjoy Phoenix. And then, you got to balance it out because I
sometimes wonder if like Central California, maybe that's worth living in. Because let's just say you got 4 hours both the north and south. Like if you want to go to LA or San Francisco, plus you're kind of in an area that's still not as much city-like, but you have access to the city. Like let's say if you wanted to take a day trip, you could. So maybe like living in San Luis Obispo, Paso Robles, which is like that Central California area, not like Bakersfield or Fresno, which are 2 areas you probably want to shoot yourself. At least in San Luis Obispo, you can kind of live your life out. Even if it's not a city, you could kind of live.
Yeah, but some people want to shoot themselves everywhere, Karl.
That's
no
true.
Matter where you are.
I shouldn't deny the people who like to commit suicide in cities. No.
Well,
shout out to Jeffrey Epstein killing himself in a New York City penitentiary.
See? And that's probably a nice penitentiary.
Exactly.
Why would he want to?
Exactly. Well, the cameras were off, so it was time to get through with it. But yeah, with San Luis Obispo, because at least I had like my grandparents, like my mother's father. That's where he lived up until he died and stuff, and he loved it much more.
Right.
Like he wanted even though he was like born in the more north, and he also spent some time in the south. He wanted it there. Because at least in terms, it's like it's not really touched by a big city. But
which is hard to find out. I noticed moving here is that it's such a big everything. There's so much built and there's so many houses. Sometimes it's hard to tell until you see street signs. At least for me, because I just moved here, to be like, oh, now I'm in Tempe, or now I'm in Mesa, or now I'm in Scottsdale. It's like, dude, this areas. It's. I mean, it's huge. There's so much built. There's no space. Like I remember my hometown. I drive 30 minutes and just desert fields for like 30 minutes.
Was that Sedona or Prescott?
Sedona, okay. And then you drive to Cottonwood 30 minutes and there's nothing for
Cottonwood, dude. I actually have my mom's aunt lives in Cottonwood.
Oh, for sure.
Oh, it's a nice place because, put it this way, where she is, it's like a lower ground. So whatever the temperature is in Cottonwood, it's probably like 10, 15 degrees lower around her house.
Oh, wow. Okay.
It's kind of an interesting area and stuff, but I might as well make a day trip up there just for like shits and giggles.
It's pretty cool. I mean, small towns in general are interesting because you get to meet a lot of cool people. People are nicer. There's enough tourism where like you see people who like live in Phoenix all the time, whatever. It's just not enough going on down there. So much opportunity here.
Yeah,
no
and
comedy
maybe you feel
or
like
anything.
Definitely. If you have aspirations, like just with age and stuff, because if you're trying to get especially into some form of entertainment, it's like you got to be in a bigger city.
100%.
Like, sure, you don't have to move immediately to an LA or a New York, but even if you're in buttfuck Wisconsin, like go to freaking Milwaukee and stuff, get yourself shown, and then move out.
Yes.
Move to Chicago or something.
Join a strip
like
club.
More profitant. Well, I don't know if that's your route.
Some Milwaukee strippers. Oh, they're probably
Milwaukee
nice.
I heard
Wearing
from at
coats.
least a friend there's always a fun time in Milwaukee, so maybe that's something that can relate
There's a
to.
little innuendo.
Yes. What goes in Milwaukee?
Their sports team won last year. Their basketball team won. They got something going on. The Bucks and the basketball, yeah.
Exactly, because they got that guy Giannis and Antetokounmpo. Or as I like to call, because a friend called it, Antetokounmpo Canupu.
Oh, nice.
It's like he just called it. I was like, all right, he's Antetokounmpo Canupu now.
Yeah, bro. I mean, when it comes to basketball, that's probably my main sport. But last year I was so excited for the Suns to win. I've been a fan forever, but I've recently started to bet since, I'm almost 22 now, but I've been sports
betting. It must feel sad seeing a team lose it in their grip when I've seen in my home area a team win it 3 times in the past decade.
Bro. That's exactly.
Well, I remember the first one they won it, I was in Oakland and stuff when it happened. And actually, there wasn't as much crazy stuff going down there. It was more in San Francisco. I mean, there were some parties in Oakland and such, but whatever. They have their new arena and such.
Right. Well, there's certain areas you are in each state, depending. I mean, Phoenix is interesting because I guess it's the only basketball we really have. So most people are like, oh,
it's
we
like
love the
Suns.
Suns.
Major metro here and such. like I like to compare it to Sacramento, and in my head, it's like unless I really value being so close to Lake Tahoe and San Francisco, there's no real better reason to live in Sacramento than live in Phoenix. No, it's there's just nothing much to Sacramento.
Yeah, but and then when it comes to like the actual culture and community around sports, Arizona doesn't have much, but certain parts of LA do, and very much don't. But then you go to like Boston, or you go to like New York, or fucking Texas with football, dude. I mean, people in certain places are so diehard, it's next level.
I feel like in those places it's been established as case because it's a city, so within generations you have people who have been growing there. Whereas here you're really just starting to get a first generation who grew up with it here. And
Good point.
Because at least from my view, at least as long as I've been here since 2016, or actually 2015. Fall that I've continuously been here. I really only see the Cardinals get continuous support no matter if it's good or bad.
Yeah, that's a football thing, I think.
But then exactly what you say. Sometimes I think it rains out. Like I guess it's like back home because I was a Raiders fan before they were there till they were ripped out of my heart. A lot of people my generation they go back to the Raiders. But if you finally see the Gen Xers, they were Niner fans because like hey. They were out of here, so we only had one team to root for. And such.
Right, I think
so. It's establishing that base and such, and you're starting to get it more here, but it takes time.
It does.
Obviously, when you have shitty owners like Robert Sarver of the Suns or Ken Kennedy, or not,
he loves creeping on women. That's all.
I gotta remember something Kennedy of the. Or Ken Kendrick of the Diamondbacks. You know what's weird? The Bidwells with the Cardinals, they're like automatically the better owners just because the other ones are so bad.
Right. Well, that's the funny thing is like there's like you said, it takes time, but there's always a few fans. There's always like whatever amount it is, no matter where sports are, which I think is so funny because no matter how shitty the team is, like there's certain teams that just continuously like have been bad, like. For basketball, like the Hornets, even when they were in New Orleans, like they've never really had a run. Except
what about when they were the
Chris
Charlotte
Paul.
Bobcats?
Exactly, the Bobcats, same thing.
What was that guy? Something Morrison? I can't remember. He had like a mustache.
Oh man,
he came from Gonzaga.
I know exactly. He was a bust. Oh my gosh.
He was like
I think he was like first to third.
I don't know if he was
pick.
as much as he definitely was. I don't know if it was much as a bust as a flash in the pan. Like maybe the first few years he did good.
Maybe,
but then after that it was like. Okay, you're not going to be established.
Oh, I know exactly what you're talking about too. Oh well, but yeah, he's one of them. But anyway, it's funny that you can people find things when they don't have anything going on in their life.
Exactly. Well, it's something to relate to. It's some form of entertainment.
Strip club.
I was actually it's like how else are you going to entertain yourself? I mean, I looked at it. I guess like this weird thing like international soccer because I'm into it. Like, how is international soccer compared to let's say like the music industry and stuff? And I want to say it was just below a little in revenue. Like, it wasn't more than, like, 5% in total revenue, but it was just, like, if you take all the entertainment, both in, I guess, broadcast ticketing and merchandising, like, the music industry just as a whole compared to just soccer as one. It's like it's just a little.
But that's fascinating that it can even. I mean, I think that you can even compare it because obviously being in America, people are like, soccer, whatever.
But internationally,
dude, oh my God, it's. I mean, still and always will be. I feel like the number one sport. No matter how.
It's just because it's like any poor person could set it up. It's like
that's true.
Okay, you need something to represent a ball and something to represent a goal.
Yeah.
We don't care if we have to use a bunch of socks tumbled up together and then the goalposts are just rocks on the ground.
Yeah.
And stuff.
Well, and that's the thing too is like. Also, like, even if you played as a kid, I feel like you understand, like, the heart is so much more in it because, man, running for that long, oh, my God, I wouldn't do that now.
Oh, especially if you're in, like, the midfield. It's like you got to keep going in between everything because the action's in between you.
Yeah.
It's easier when you're just defensive, and it's like you can kind of sit back until something gets launched
smoking a cigarette, drinking a beer.
It's like if you have to just, like, foul someone's like, all right, whatever, I'll take the foul and stuff.
Yeah, bro.
Crazy parents yelling at you.
Muscles. Oh.
Actually, another thing I was trying to make a bit about. I had seen it with it was an Argentinian soccer league game, and this crazy woman, she had to be at least 60s, maybe even older, 70s, but she was complaining to this TV cameras like, he celebrated us, he's crazy, he can't do that. And I don't know how to do a bit with this, but either say without a beat or just say what she says next in general. She talks about it's like, we have to kill him. She just says that straight to the camera. It's like, we got to kill him. It's like, oh my goodness.
Yeah, bro. Oh man, it's fascinating to me too. Like, I understand being passionate about sports. I really do, because I am. But when
you don't feel a need to throw rocks at the opposing buses that are arriving.
Exactly. Or even when you're a kid, because like when I played soccer in particular as a kid, playing against like the towns over, like the certain parents would just go wild, and I'm like, dude, we're 11. We know we got fucking like juice stains on our mouths. We're like, this is a hot day. We can't wait to get out of here. But they're like, you fucking tackle that, dude. It's like, this is soccer, lady. You know what I mean?
They start yelling at the referee or umpire. It's like, what do you think?
And it probably is easy to pay them, because they're like, I guess
you pay them with a freaking meal ticket to whatever like the food shack.
Yeah, you get them some Sizzler fucking 20%
That's what they did at
off.
my Little League baseball.
Sure.
It's like they just gave them like the free thing of that, maybe $20. I don't know, whatever.
Yeah, right.
Well, it's more with that. If I'm like a parent, it's like at that point I may not even be watching my kid there. I'll have my kid see me there before the game, but I might be in back. I might be having a joint. I might be having some cocaina. It's you go do your thing. It's as long as you're having fun, do your thing. I'm not going to get too involved in it. A borderline call, whatever. The ump struck you out, whatever. You do better next time.
Right.
I'd rather blame my kid at that point than that. You fucking
Can you imagine betting? Can you imagine sports betting on fucking Little League games?
I've thought about that with the Little League World Series. Do they have betting lines open for that?
Do they really?
I don't believe they do, because I believe some leagues they're kind of like off. Like we do not do youth sports, because I think it has to either
that
be
makes sense.
It has to be considered either like a semi-professional like college,
right,
or professional where it's like a major league and they're getting paid.
Right.
I mean, that's just my guess. I mean, maybe there is some people doing betting lines for.
Under the
League World Series.
Yeah.
Let's see when this whole pandemic thing goes out and we can have the Little League World Series again. I'm willing to put a few bucks on those Taipei kids or Curacao.
Yeah, right.
Hey, for a while they were fucking winning it all the time.
Oh yeah.
Now I know with Taipei it was because in Taiwan they were kind of let's say skirting the rules and getting whoever was best in the country. It's like, yeah, they're within this district. We're just gonna throw in.
Right.
Or there was like a time period they barely gave up any runs or something in a tournament. It's like, oh yeah, there's something probably going on here.
For sure.
Oh, that's a thing, quitting. Like, I know the Philippine city of Zamboanga City, I think they have a lifetime ban because they did that once with their team. Yeah. Half the players were from the city and the rest they just took from, like, the best from the country.
Sure.
It's like, yeah, they all live in this area in Zamboanga City.
Sorry. God. I don't know why I keep doing that. But yeah, I don't know. Little
all the scandals.
Well, it's funny because, like, I mean, at a certain point, obviously, I'm like, oh, of course they're not going to bet on Little League. But, like, if you go on the betting apps.
There are enough degenerate people there.
And it's not even enough to generate that, too. But the offers that they give you, like, on the Super Bowl this year, I was going to bet on it. You could not only.
Was it the FanDuel one?
It was a DraftKings one. Not only could you bet on the possible color of the Gatorade that was poured on the fucking winning coach, you could also. They had a really odd question that said, do you think there will be an octopus? Like, that was the entire question. And yes was like, fucking 7,500 odds.
In that case, I would look into the details. Like, how are we describing an octopus? Does an octopus have to be thrown
and
on?
in what context? Like,
Does
do you mean in a
physical octopus?
in like an ad, or like is it like on the halftime show? Like they're gonna bring one out in a cage?
True. It's like
it was odd.
Like if any sea creature comes out with eight limbs, is like, are we suddenly considering that an octopus?
It was just funny because, I mean, at a certain point, people are betting. I mean, obviously, you're betting on something you want to win, but you're just betting. The most degenerate
one is the coin toss and such.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And then there was one. Yeah. Anyway, but it's funny because, I mean, the sad part is I'm like, oh, that's all degenerate, and then I'm like, well, maybe I'll put like $10 on the octopus being there. You know what I mean? Maybe it'll.
What's less degenerate, at least relatively, is betting on the time of the national anthem. Well, usually betting on over because the thought is, hey, that person wants to take all the time they can.
True.
And then I remember last year, the one in Tampa Bay, they closed the lines when someone posted online them recording, like they were outside the stadium and them doing the national anthem.
Oh, that's funny. Just fucking plus 500.
Yeah, they recorded
plus
the time,
500,
showed it what it was on the
plus
time.
500 in case Mariah Carey. Do you think Mariah Carey's going to shit herself during the national anthem this year?
It's probably honestly minus 100 lines or something. But if you know what it's going to be, you're definitely going to pay that
That's
shit.
exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Because I guess why I do like MMA stuff, a record could be very deceiving. You just see someone who's undefeated. It's like
that's actually a good
maybe
point.
They were facing shit competition or stuff.
That's actually a good point because sometimes I feel like the safest to me seems like soccer. Or it seems like even basketball. I don't know, but then again, nothing is ever really.
soccer and basketball, it's all about seeing like what their past schedule is, because a lot of your schedule
Sure.
what you recently did, because I know with soccer with a lot of upsets, it's like, okay, they played a midweek game, they switched out a lot of their lineup. I should have seen this shit.
Right, which is what I don't, because I'll be up at 3 a.m, like betting on handball games. You know what I mean?
Oh, you do handball and
Like,
stuff.
dude, I just do it because you know what shitty is. I should probably bet on games I can watch instead of just like.
Well, that what makes it more entertaining or stuff. Or I don't know what other ways to tell you to bet on stuff other than to tell you the stuff I bet on. Because okay, I'll give you advice for one with like NFL and stuff.
Yeah, let's do it.
If you find it's gonna be horrible weather, bet the under. How I learned this is with the Raiders and Browns some years ago. And it said there's going to be 39 per hour winds and 51 mile per hour wind gusts expected. I'm like, bet the under on that. You're going to run it. Field goals aren't going to go in. And it went way under.
Good point.
And such. And
That's
what's
a
funny,
good point.
people were complaining about the spread because I guess some player, when they could have gotten a touchdown and changed the spread, they went out of bounds. But I'm like, man, I had the under. I don't give a shit about that. He gonna score that
doesn't
or not.
doesn't involve me.
Oh, once I saw that like 39 per hour wind gusts and 51 mile per hour wind gusts and 39 mile per hour speeds, like under.
That's actually a good point because there's so many variants, in sports in general. So like, and I don't even think about that.
The only time it didn't work is when I saw Colts and Niners this year, and it was very rainy in technically they're in Santa Clara, which is an hour away of San Francisco driving. But it was like, it was very raining, and I thought it would be the under because it was heavy rain. It's like, okay, Colts are used to being indoors in a domed arena. Their Niners aren't really used to rain. Let's see how it goes. But no, because of the run defense being so shitty, they let a bunch of touchdowns in that way. Stupid Niners.
Well,
No, but obviously that's also the thing. It's obviously risk reward because sometimes stuff can happen against it. Like the Cardinals this year. I thought they were going to come back against the Lions that one game until right after they got a turnover. Kyler Murray threw an interception, and I realized my bets were doomed.
That was just a shame. The Cardinals ate it this year. I mean, and I knew too because like
They were doing really good up until
they were
really
trying to, and everyone was like, "Oh, they might beat the Rams." It's like, dude, I don't know if you watched the final half of their season, but they were just falling apart. The final half of their season,
and you don't know if it was because they were missing DeAndre Hopkins
or
the
JJ Watt for a
defensive
bit. I mean, for a little
Yeah,
bit.
I mean, he came at back
like
the
it was like one or
very
two
end,
games.
but
I think he was. I don't know, maybe more.
Yeah,
than
he
that,
came back at the very end. It was more surprising. He was already able to come back then.
but sure.
And it's just, but it's those factors that go into it or such. Or did I tell you how not this? Well, this Super Bowl I did get it correct because I took the Bengals plus 3.5. Only got it correct because that Rams kicker missed an extra point. If he had made that, I would have lost.
Wow.
But last year with the Buccaneers Chiefs, did I tell you how I predicted that correctly? Once I saw Andy Reid. His son, who had been on the sideline all year as like an assistant, got in a car accident in which 2 kids died, and he was like under arrest. It's like, he's not going to be in the right mindset. He's going to be thinking differently. Now, also, mind you, there were 2 offensive linemen for the Chiefs missing, so maybe that played a part.
Sure.
However, once I saw it,
but that was
he's not going to have his son. He's going to think about him being arrested for the week. This is the time to pick the Buccaneers.
Damn, that's
because you have to look into this stuff like
you do.
Has someone unfollowed the team on social media?
Interesting. That's because Kyler Murray did that.
Well, although with that, I'll say what I learned that could be is just him.
Kind of clearing.
Yeah, some athletes have done. Like I know Joe Burrow has apparently deleted all social media and stuff.
But he just lost the Super Bowl, so it's like he's trying to clear his head, and he's like, I'm gonna fucking start.
Or no, I think he's deleted all social like the.
That's even
itself.
different. That's even more different because then if you're deleting social media, that's not directed towards anyone.
Well, because I'll tell you with Kyler Murray when that happened, other people, the team, I'm the baseball fan, the A's, the ones that drafted him in baseball, were like, oh, is he gonna turn the baseball and such? Obviously, he's not.
Yeah, I know, but I've heard a lot of people talk about that, and I'm like, do you think he really would?
No,
I mean, everyone's like, it's so much easier on his body. It's like, well, bro, he's a quarterback. I don't really know if he's gonna want it. He's been playing.
He wanted the money earlier on. He didn't want to have to go through the minors and go through that. No. Yeah. Well, it was the stupid team, the front office's fault for drafting him because it's like he's a risk. He's probably going to like go to the NFL, stuff like that. He's a chance.
100%.
Spending a first-round draft pick on this guy may not be the smartest thing. And it happened. But what was the funniest thing happened out of it? This one broad, or I'll even call her a bitch, is what she did towards Kyler Murray. Her name is Jen Rainwater, and what makes it funny, she lost a writing job with the SB Nation Oakland Athletics writers group because a comment she made after Kyler Murray after he decided to declare for the draft instead of going to MLB. like saying, like, I hope you get injured.
Oh,
like,
my
she was like
God.
hoping like bad stuff. Like you could search it just Jen Rainwater, Kyler Murray. This brought but here's the silver lining of it. It's how other Oakland A's fans, we were able to show others like, yeah, this lady's a crazy bitch.
Right, sure.
Like she thought just because she liked to wear like these high socks to games, that when they did a socks giveaway, it's like they should be crediting me for this.
Right, yeah.
She's a crazy bitch.
that's always funny.
So in some ways, I've thought if I get a Cardinals jersey, it's like, man, I'd prefer like a JJ Watt, but just for the hilariousness with this
just
crazy
split it down
bitch.
the middle. Just have it sewed Oakland A's, and then have it sewed
Kyler Murray one.
Yeah, you just want one jersey, bro.
Just to piss her off, that broad. It's like you're because other people were more like, it's the front office's fault for selecting this guy when they know he could have gone somewhere else.
Right.
It's like it's their damn fault.
Yeah.
But this broad, she just didn't understand.
Well, I mean, how I kind of wonder. I wish I knew off the top of my head. I wonder how many other athletes that have done both. Because I can really.
Bo Jackson really.
But and that's the main one.
Deion Sanders did it.
I didn't know that either.
I mean, Jameis Winston got drafted.
But he didn't
Russell
play?
Wilson, he went to spring training, though he didn't do anything more than that.
Sure, I can't think of any more. I mean, no, MJ for basketball, of course.
Like the thing is, well.
But that was
did you hear about the conspiracy how him going to baseball was just more of a way of basketball trying to shield him out when I guess his betting stuff was coming into light?
I have heard that. Because he was gambling. Dude, he's crazy.
I remember seeing that. I think it was I forgot it was the ESPN or Netflix documentary.
Yeah,
that
Netflix.
one was it? Which one? And like you see, he just wants to bet all the time, such as when they're in the plane and he goes to like the smaller bet table and he's like, "Oh, I just want to say I took money from all you."
Yeah, 100%.
Shit, this guy just likes to prove he's better in every situation.
That's exactly what it is. Well, I also there's something. I mean, between I guess it's human beings in general, but like Charles Barkley and like there's a few other athletes who like are addicted.
Oh, big into betting,
bro, big into betting. Even though he's a fat
100.
tipper, like he'll tip a lot of money, but then he'll bet. I mean, I've heard he's lost like million. I mean, I don't know if it's really millions, but that's what I've heard.
Probably had. Well, I remember him saying on one thing, it's like he knows his family's just gonna spend it away, so he'd rather be broke when he dies. It's like they're like money grubbing and stuff. There was a hilarious.
I don't know. I think there's a way to get because I have a terrible problem. Like when I turned 21, I was playing poker and I love poker. I love watching it. Weirdly enough, but like I remember being like, okay, if I was better at this, I wouldn't mind, but that's not something I can afford to get better at because that's like the type of sport.
Can I tell you one way I've learned with like betting? The way to think of it is like. A casino is like a reverse insurance company. So when you have to think going into there, think like an insurance company. What's the risk involved and how to evaluate it?
Damn, that's crazy, Karl.
Because put it this way, an insurance company, they give you the rates based on the risks you have. Whereas the casino, you put the money you think you have down. Stuff.
Damn.
Like that's why Jacoby, he's been trying to teach me blackjack and stuff, because there's an optimal choice way.
There is. I mean, certain things. I'm not going to say there's necessarily like great odds, but I'm saying there are certain things you can do where you have more of a control factor versus like slots.
Yeah.
Pressing a button.
Well, I was going to say slots also like the payout with slots. Okay, like how I used to think with slots, I thought the weight around them is once you make more than what you place, stop playing and go to a new game. Now, while that's the best way to stay profitable, I guess technically it's not the best way to make most money because how the payout happens is unless you press the button at the exact time in which the random number generator inside the machine has, you're not going to get the same result. Wow. There's a random machine like number.
That actually makes sense because sometimes you'll wonder why you'll hit it hot and then it won't happen again. You can almost feel it when you're doing it because subconsciously I feel like you're gathering the actual like waves of it. Like
it is, but it's like whatever millisecond you literally hit it.
True.
Technically, over time, they're supposed to pay out like a little, like take in a little more than they give out.
Sure.
But obviously, they're not going to do that automatically. So
no, and also depending on who you are, like you said, if you're lucky enough, you won't even realize that because everyone else is losing the fucking money and you're getting that one big, which they're still making money off of. Because even though you might feel like it's a large sum, the amount they've made is already,
Mm-hmm. I guess it was singular friend. Like he put $20 in the machine. I told him once you make more, take it out. And I think he did get like 25 or something. It's like, okay, I'll take this out, start a new game and such.
Sure.
But I was thinking in my head, like, technically, the reason he wasn't winning in that is because he left once he had more. It was because of the random number generator.
Yeah, you're right. Now
it was just learning that whole
well,
thing.
Well, but, it's all chance.
Yeah, I was like, put it this way. My goal with the casino is to get my walking papers, if you know what those are.
No.
Oh, it's when they kick you out for making too much money.
Oh, yeah.
Because at least me, I see it as
Do you go to the casino?
not like too often. No, like to be honest, because I just bet with my phone and such.
I used to, and now the same thing where I'm like, I feel like I don't really need to because, I don't know, if I'm betting with my phone and then I'm also going to the casino, it could be a problem. And
Well, with Jacoby, what I'm learning from him is trying to hit it up soon, but like not just learning how to count, but learning how to optimal decision making. So it's like you see how much the dealer has, what cards they have. You see what you have, and you make an optimal decision based on that. Yeah, or like when you approach a table, you make sure.
Well, and it's kind of just math. I mean, it's math and logic because I've done some of the best doing blackjack, and then I've also sometimes done the worst, and still never as bad as poker, because there is a skill to it in a sense. I mean, it's more so just aggression and quickness and blah blah. But with blackjack, it is you're playing against one person. It's the dealer, which at a certain point you can kind of tell when you're like, oh, this. I'm gonna get fucked over with this either way.
Or if other people are
she has a
playing
10
as well.
and probably has an ace.
But I guess how I learned with the blackjack, it's because you go first. So let's say if you were to lose first, they collect. The dealer collects. But also if you're, let's say, to hit 21 first, you collect because you have to go first.
Sure.
But that's obviously the risk of going first in the first place. Yeah. And I guess it's learning that because in a way I like to look at it, casinos don't pay for themselves.
No.
Well, it's like that with betting lines. When I see so much, let's say on a spread, like, 80 or especially 90% on one side, it's like, I should probably take the other side just because if it's a spread, it's like people leaning to one side and it's kind of a 50-50.
Right.
And even if I'm not likely to hit it, there's value. Or if you ever see for a money line a plus 300 for a baseball team or a hockey team, take them. I mean, if the money line you feel comfortable or the spread.
Well, what's funny is actually out of sports betting, I've made, I mean, not necessarily the most, but like when it comes to like the amount that I've made the most money off of baseball, which is because, and I don't know if that's because of the way the game is or if that's just because there's less. I don't know. Maybe that is just the way the game is.
It's probably how it's paced and stuff, because how baseball is paced, it makes betting really easy.
Sure.
Because it's like one play, do one thing, whatever. Like, especially live betting, if you're able to bet, like, is the next one a ball or a strike?
Exactly.
Yeah. One thing I'd like to do with baseball is, will there be a run in the first inning?
Right, exactly. Yeah. See, I'm trying not to gamble. This whole conversation is like, I'm gonna go to the casino after this, but no.
It's not to gamble. It's just not to gamble every day.
Right.
It's the people that lose are the ones that do it every day.
Dude, I used to work at Circle K, and I would have a dude come in, I swear to God, every day and spend like $200 to like $300 every day on scratchers. And he'd come back some days and like, oh, I made my money back and some, but I'm gonna spend it again. I swear to God, on scratchers. He get like, can I get like 5 of these like $20 ones? And
I do not expect this man's credit score to be below.
No.
Be above.
Surprised
500.
he had a car. To be honest, I'm surprised he had teeth. On a certain level.
Yeah, I was gonna say at that point you might as well wonder if he even has health insurance.
But he was local, and then he'd come in at night and be like, "Hey, be safe, man. It's not safe at night." I was like, "Bro, I don't know. I feel like I should be telling you to be safe, dog. You're spending a lot of money on these fucking scratchers." Like, I know I'm buying myself a Circle K, but I'm not spending. I still got money in my pocket.
Yeah, it's like I'm more concerned about your consumption habits. What are you doing here?
Right. Well,
man?
that's the funny thing is like I would see him win, but then it's always those people who on an off chance just go, "Hey, I'm gonna buy a scratcher," and then they win like 2,000 to 5,000. Because some people do. I don't know why people choose scratchers as the main way to gamble, but because people spend. I mean, dude, you always hear about a friend of a friend who won 10 grand on 777, bro.
Yeah, and you had to pay over 4,000 in taxes with that. So
exactly.
You only collected 6,000.
Exactly. Oh man, the taxes on like those fucking lottery ones are insane.
Yeah, that's why the state's the real winner each time.
True.
They know they're gonna make money.
No matter what.
Yeah, and they know there's that population because I guess gambling's a natural instinct with many people, but it's such as, let's say, us. It could be something different involved. Like, it doesn't have to be sports every time.
Right. That's a good point. Yeah.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah, I don't know. There were some people that were even people that are very degenerate bet on the weather.
Yeah. No, bro. People bet on even. Yeah, I understand what you're saying.
What I've thought is at least seeing the betting lines for the last presidential election is putting a substantial amount of money when it kind of moves and like let's say one's at 100. Like first bet on whoever's the underdog, and then when it kind of switches with the betting lines because both had plus odds at one point.
So what do you think would be crazier? Do you think it would be crazier to bet on? Here, no. Let me get a good comparison. Do you think it would be better? It would be crazier to bet on like let's say the amount of car crashes or deaths in a day versus like a porn. How many cum shots you see on some chick's face? What do you think's crazier? Trippier? How many deaths in a day? How many violent versus like how many times this bitch getting hit in the eye? Like.
I guess it depends which bitch, because if it's Rihanna with Chris Brown, you're definitely gonna have a high betting line.
No.
Whereas if we're doing cum shots, it depends if we're getting some sicko like Ron Jeremy and his pigsty to.
Or I mean, but then you're thinking about
some
chick with her 3 friends texting in a car, hits a semi. You know, how many of those chicks survive? No, that's terrible. That's so.
How many?
I'm just saying, people do. It is that concept is messed up, right? But that's how crazy people think when they gamble. I truly believe that.
Actually, yeah. Oh no, that's definitely true with the gambling mind and such. You see some people who go really overboard with it, or the ones that interest me were the few times I went to Vegas, and I can remember one at like 5:00 in the morning at the Venetian. I believe no, it wasn't the Venetian. It was the Luxor because that's where I was staying at because it was cheap near Christmas. And it was someone just passed out at the slots at like 5 a.m. That's a real degenerate.
Yeah, that is. Hey, they don't have a choice, bro. It's in their blood. So
it's like more at that point. It's just like.
I know.
What?
Then you feel a little bad, but then you're like, you know what? I'm having fun. I'm drunk. I'll probably lose.
Exactly. Well, my whole thing is I know the set amount I'll bet. I'll know what I'll bet on, and I do not chase a profit.
But then you just stop after that?
Well, also
depends.
Well, if we're now talking about the app betting, what I may do is like I have a one bet to start the day, and if that one loses, I'm like, okay, no more betting for the day. I'm a loser.
That's smart.
So I spend more days being a loser, but those loser days are smaller.
Man, some of the darkest moments I've had are after losing like bets where I'm like, I'm doing this because I'm addicted. Because I've done the same thing where I lost in a day, and then I go, no, one more chance.
It's
like,
dude,
the
parlays.
Oh, bro, I bet like one day I was losing a ton of money, and the Heat were playing somebody else, and I bet like $300, like the most I've ever bet sports betting, like $300. And they went to triple overtime, and the Heat were supposed to lose the games essentially, but they went to triple overtime, and I was like, dude, they got this, and they lost by like 2 in triple overtime, and I was like, this is so fucked up, man. I'm like, what's wrong with me?
How they do that to you?
Yeah, I mean,
oh my goodness.
But
I had some large bets and stuff. Like I want to see the most I ever put was like 600 on something. Well, that one won. Well, one that didn't hit was one I put 500 on a 3-leg parlay for a UFC event. Actually, it was that event, which Hall versus Silva. What annoyed me first was the 2 with the most profitable odds won before. Yet it was a stupid bitch, Tanner Boser, get freaking split decision, 29-28. And at the press conference, he's like, oh, I thought going into the 3rd round I was winning, so I didn't try. You stupid son of a bitch lost me $500. And the first one I was thankful for because the first one he won by literally the guy's ear fell off. It started dangling before. It counted as an ear injury, but I saw it dangling.
How many inches do you think it fell? $100 for him?
Oh, it was dangling and stuff. Like I could see it. Like I was excited my bet won, but I saw this guy's ear hanging and I was like, ooh. Oh God. It was Ramiz Brahimaj, if you remember that when he was facing Miles John, or maybe it was Max Griffin. It was one of those. And then there was Yan Xiaonan, this really thin Chinese lady. She never does good in the first round, but she comes back in the second and she fires, and she won. And this stupid bitch Canadian who looks like a lumberjack, Tanner Boser, had to go easy on the 3rd round against old man Andrei Arlovsky, loses a minus like 260 or some big favorite, while the others were in the minus 100s.
It's okay.
And he lost me $500.
Well, he's probably lost $500. He can't get over their fucking bridges up there in Canada. He's probably trying to get to fucking work, and he's just.
I refused to bet on him, even though it was obvious he was going to win in later ones. It's like, no, you cost me once. I'm never trusting your bitch ass. Yeah. The one that did work out best was Khabib Nurmagomedov's final event, because I bet on 4 there, and luckily one went to a draw because he was being a little bitch in the fight, and it went to a draw. Yeah, but the other 3 easily won, and obviously he was one of them. So that was like 600 to win a little over 1,000.
You got to help me with this shit, because I don't think I bet on the right things. Because I'll do like game props for like basketball, and then I'm like, just dumb shit, like the wrong parlay or like whatever it is. It's like,
I guess one thing to look at it, soccer and stuff is like maybe during the week, maybe they're like riding high, thinking they're so high and mighty.
I guess it's better to know about the actual team or the game.
Well, one of those,
obviously.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know, finding the situations where someone's undervalued and such, because it's obviously a probability game. It's like, hey.
And that's where knowledge of the game comes in too. Because if you're like, oh no, I could tell, and I mean also like, yeah, I mean I guess certain like gambling corporations or businesses do slip up once in a while. Whether you know what I mean, like
they have to lose money but in the long run they win because
100%.
they get so many more people that lose money betting.
They can afford to.
Like what is it? Like only 1% to 2% of people actually make profitable money off gambling and such.
1% to 2%, you said?
Yeah, well, I'm talking like a whole net
in
return
the whole
all time.
Right.
Yeah,
but that's still
obviously those are the ones they
mind-blowing.
want to give their. I want to be that 1% to 2%. They give a walking paper and it's like, hey, you are no longer allowed to bet here because you won so much money.
100%. That's just like I was for a while watching so much poker, and I was like, oh man, there's famous people who play poker. There's dudes, but then you realize they're still almost in debt because of how much they've lost in tournaments and won. But they're doing ads for TV because they're famous and they win the big tournaments, and that's how they're making their real money.
Apparently, the comedian, if you know Ari Shafir, apparently for a while he lived off of poker winnings.
Wow.
I
Some
guess it
people
was
do.
when he was in LA, he lived off.
When
of
I
it.
tried to, because I was trying, I'm such an idiot for like when I turned 21, I loved it so much. I was trying to actually make money off of it, and I had some weeks where like I profited, and then the weeks after I lost so much it wasn't even close to how much. But there is a skill, and to an extent.
It's learning that optimal choice strategy when like the dealer's cards and your cards.
But see, with poker, you're playing against the other people.
Oh, with poker. Okay.
Right.
I was thinking
So-
more of the blackjack.
Right,
stuff.
blackjack is.
Yeah.
I mean, I actually feel like blackjack to me has seemed, unless I'm just bad at poker, has seemed almost easier because there's more, like you said, like optimal odds or like, you know what I mean?
Well, not just counting cards because the reason sport or the casinos are able to fight against the counting the cards, they add multiple decks in.
Yeah.
But I know one is like the high-low system where it's like certain numbers you take like high-low, and if it's like a high positive number, that means there's a likelihood of a big number hitting like a face card or a 10 or an ace.
Right.
Whereas like if it's a minus a lot, you're more likely to get a low at that point.
Man, Carl.
It's all about,
You're like an
as I said,
you're like a gambling encyclopedia, bro.
but you have to, it's acting the opposite of an insurance company.
Yeah. I
Yes.
can't get too excited.
Yeah.
I'm
well,
like, I got
it's
the
just-
end now. I met my buddy Karl.
Yeah, it's just don't fret over the short-term losses. It's all about the long-term gains.
Right.
And stuff. Well, because at least in sports betting, the one I look most to is Billy Walters, which I saw the 60-minute episode where, like, just say an NFL Sunday, he's betting $25-30 million the entire day because he's like, oh wait, we're gonna put $500,000 on this team, we're gonna put $300,000 on this team, and we're gonna put another $400,000 on this team.
That is next level.
It is, yeah.
Because in my head, I feel like if I had money, I'd gamble it more. But then again, I feel like that's not fucking true because I'm gambling now because I want money. If I had it, I don't know if I really want to gamble that bad.
Or
it's
people just like to do it for the
just
thrill.
to do it, yeah, for the thrill.
Yeah,
right.
well, I mean, I've seen some people like the sports books. They'll sometimes tweet out big bets that are placed because I guess to place a bet of a certain amount, like a sports bet, you have to be like a known customer with the sports book and contact like a specific person to take your bet.
Oh wow.
Yeah, well, because I know certain ones, like I think a lot of casinos, they do not take an NFL bet from a new customer that's more than $50,000 or something like that.
I could see that. I could probably see that. I think. I guess that's the same thing with business in general. Is like depending on the risk for you and you know how well you know the customer. That is especially when you're working in the
because
fucking.
they got to make money. And
They got to
shit.
make money.
If they're finding customers like I hope to be that make money, gotta kick them out.
Yeah.
Hey, you can't be here anymore. You're making us go into the red with your profit. Fuck.
How do we fix addiction, Karl? How do we solve this?
Well, I guess in that place, making people learn that they're more losers times than they're not.
Yeah, but I don't think. I think at a certain point, people will gamble no matter what.
Oh, they'll find
No
something.
matter
to gamble.
what.
Yeah, it's just. I mean, obviously, it's. I think one thing they try to do, how it's expanded the U.S. is like 1% of the revenue from it has to go to like Gamblers Anonymous. Or
Oh,
those
interesting.
stuff.
Well, I know I know on the reservation, obviously in Arizona, you know, almost all. Is it all of it? It has to be on a reservation to have a.
Well, not here. No, I know with here it's
Because I know in the Verde Valley, it has to be.
It was like this. It was the reservations and the sports teams directly were able to get the licensing because what they did is they partnered with sports betting companies. Yeah,
I see. Because I know in the Verde Valley, for you to have a running operation,
I don't know if I tell you what I found. Apparently, Guy Fieri's building like a restaurant sports book that's connected to Chase Field. It was something I found
Arizona?
today.
In Chase Field?
Well, he lives. I thought he does live
Karl.
in this area. Oh hell yeah! With
bro. That would be,
well, I think there's a rule with it, like the sports book, like they have to be connected in a way that they can still be accessible on non-game days. Which like the Suns, how they have FanDuel. It's like where that Carl's Jr. used to be. I think that's where they set it
I know
up.
you're talking about.
Yeah,
but that's trippy, especially, dude, man, that would be so much fun.
Because it's like a requirement for them to have it. It's like the sports book has to be accessible on a non-game day.
Part of the deal.
So it's not considered like the team, and there's not considered a conflict of interest. It's like, it's just operating on the side.
Right.
Yeah, because each team has their own like sponsors and stuff. Like I want to say, the Diamondbacks is Sizzlers. The Cardinals have BetMGM. The Suns
I wonder what the Suns have. I don't remember.
The Suns have FanDuel.
Yeah, you were just saying
FanDuel. And then
I guess that makes sense. That's why that would be.
It's like the Phoenix Motor Speedway and the Waste Management Open have DraftKings.
Oh.
Yeah. Coyotes probably got some lowly company. I want to see how their new arena.
Do name Ricardo, bro, in a fucking
oh my God, I can't
under
imagine
a Chinese
going
restaurant.
to their arena next year. It's like a 5,000 seat arena.
They figured out their?
They're gonna be at the ASU new arena for some time.
Oh, man, I'm surprised they even did that.
I know.
I'm surprised they got it done.
Dude, there are minor league teams with bigger stadiums than
Did you ever go see the
Coyotes?
No, the
ASU hockey.
Sundogs.
The Sundogs?
So the Sundogs were a Prescott minor league hockey team. Some of the most fun I've ever had because it's only like 100 people in this like 3,000.
You gotta find some way to bring people there.
It was fun. I mean, it was just fun because you got to sit so close because there's no one there, and these dudes are just playing their hearts out, and it's the fucking Prescott Sundogs, or I guess they'd call them the Arizona Sundogs.
Oh, minor league hockey is definitely that. I know my dad told me one. I guess it was Colorado. It was. I forgot what city, but they were called like the Mother Puckers. And
that's funny. It's
each time they score a goal, I forgot it's like some tram goes around like the lights in the arena and the kids like run along with it.
Yeah.
I don't know. Those minor league games, you have to bring people out somehow, whatever you do.
Minor league games are, sometimes those are fun. It's like the same thing with college. It's a little different because college is even more high stakes. But like sometimes the heart is truly in. Like, dude, college arenas in football compared to the NFL sometimes blow them out of the water, not even close. Like if you ever watch like those Penn State games, Ohio State, fucking like.
I know the biggest stadium is University of Michigan. I want to say theirs is like 110,000 or something.
Yeah, I know for basketball it was Syracuse for a while. I know. I think at one point I don't know
for basketball because they play like in a dome. They play in a big place.
Dude, I remember. I don't know if it's the most, but I remember seeing one of their games on TV. Just like this is massive.
This is a huge. Yeah, the Carrier Dome, I think, is what it's called. I forgot if they also play their football in there. I wouldn't be surprised.
Wouldn't be surprised. Hey, just like how I remember watching the Raiders back in the day play on like a fucking baseball field, bro.
Hey, that's what I actually did see them play on.
That's what I actually liked it. I think it had character because I'd watch it and I'd be like, whoa, this one's different. And I remember being like, oh, I used to
think it must be a bitch to get tackled on that.
Oh, must be because I don't know what the difference it makes normally, but like you're playing, some dirt. I always thought that was cool.
Yeah, it's like rougher. I mean, they did it because it would be like, let's say, the first few weeks, and if the A's made the playoffs, it would be longer. But it's because they also had like the area of the mound wedges, which I think near the home field sidelines and such. Yeah, that was interesting. Scene.
I thought it was kind of cool. At a certain point, I enjoyed it. I was like, that's their stadium. But
yeah,
I guess it's always nicer to have a real.
It was interesting to go to where they had the trough to go piss in.
Oh wow.
Yeah, well, that was an interesting place going to Raider. That's another thing. I can officially say I'm grandfathered in as a fan because the moron ass owner Mark Davis. Stupid man. He should get alopecia because his hair is so bad. Oh, he has a bowl haircut. He should I swear, for a team that's known of having fans that are gang members, he is the stupidest looking owner there ever was. Jesus.
Well, if his whole fans are a bunch of shooters.
Apparently he says he'd cut his hair if the team won the Super Bowl, which I want him to cut his hair more than I want the team to win the Super Bowl. It's so ugly.
Yeah, right.
Like, I swear, you can't have me near my any favorite team's owners because I'll just start insulting them. It's like, you're an ugly motherfucker.
I think it's hard to enjoy the owners of your favorite teams, especially when they don't win.
Oh, they don't show up. Like how I make fun of the Gap and Old Navy because the Oakland A's owner, John Fisher, is part of that family that owns it. It's like, fuck you all. Fuck you bastards.
Right.
It's like, why couldn't during the summer of protest in 2020 people have looted an Old Navy Gap? Why did they have to go to Target and AutoZone and blow those places up? Blow up Gap and Old Navy.
Well, it's always like, I feel like that. I mean, I say it as a joke, but some people, I mean, I guess it's most teams that don't win, but the motto of Arizona for sports is always like, next year, bro, we're going to be good. Like, we'll get them next year. And it's like, that makes me like, well,
it's so many transplant fans here is a big thing.
That's true. That's true. But I mean, like, the Suns owner, I mean, the
Robert Starr, he's known as one of the worst owners.
One of the worst owners, but not, the only thing, I don't know if, I don't even know enough about business and sports to know if he decides the manager or the
he does.
But James
decide
Jones
the GM.
is fantastic, and same with Monty Williams, the coach.
He's been. They've been good in the front office. And
the front
also
office.
With basketball, the thing is because there's less players on the court in an active time, it's easier to, let's say, have a few good pieces and that works. Like keeping Devin Booker, not trading him for a while, was definitely smart.
I know, but you know the funny thing is, if James Jones wasn't there, if there were other people who were like the general manager is what I was thinking of, but if they weren't there, we might have traded him because we would make the dumbest moves for years. I mean,
like the Luka Doncic one, or not Luka Doncic. It was Goran Dragic.
Yes, 100%. Because he was the one who was behind Steve Nash when he was here, and he was one of the main ones we had that had the team.
Didn't they keep like one of the Bledsoe brothers instead during that time?
We had Eric Bledsoe, and then paying him a ton of money, wasn't doing well, sent him off to Milwaukee or wherever, and he did great. So. Sometimes maybe people just don't like playing for us.
you think in this era, it's like, well, you only have to play here during more of the winter time. You'd think they'd enjoy it a little more.
Yeah, true. That's actually not a bad point.
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of like I heard with the Suns. Apparently now they have a queue for their season tickets.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
that makes sense, popular. I guess.
Well, let's just wait for it to die out.
It's all these fucking fake fans, bro. Because I remember watching them go fucking 20 and 62 or whatever.
I remember seeing on StubHub it was like $100 sometimes to get just a standing room only seat for the Warriors where they were. Oh my god! I mean, it's still pretty expensive because they have a new place, but it's not like you pay $100 just for standing room only.
Oh no way! Oh no, the Warriors, bro. That must be nuts to fucking go watch them. Go watch, nuts.
I haven't seen their new arena, but from what I've heard from people I know that have been around arenas, the Sacramento one's nicer than the one in San Francisco.
Do you think it's true? I saw online. I thought I saw like the LA Rams new stadium. Fucking what is it? SoFi? No,
SoFi Stadium.
Is it SoFi? Yeah. I think it was like $3 billion. Is that right?
No, like if
maybe
you take
4.
the whole area around,
yes, exactly.
Because I want to say the stadium itself is a little like only $1.5 billion, maybe $2 billion.
But see, here's the thing: is in my head, I'm like, that's how can they do that? And then I realized, the amount of money they'll make back.
Yeah, well,
in no time.
When they announced they were going to move from St. Louis to LA, the team value doubled.
Oh,
because of land.
That makes sense now.
Yeah,
because I was like, how can they afford to do that?
Yeah. Well, that's why I hope the Oakland A's don't move out of the Bay Area and such, because it's like the land is good. You want to go to Vegas with a shitty land, and you're going to have to play in an aircraft freaking carrier, or not an aircraft, like an aircraft, what do you call it?
A fucking hangar?
Yeah, airplane hangar.
Right.
Like the Diamondbacks. Like, you don't want to have to do that. It's
yeah,
like,
no.
Let's have this nice area and stuff. It's a little nicer in this area than where it's near in South Oakland.
Because the Diamondbacks just want the chance. They're like, do we feel like giving our fans sun cancer today or not? Like, why else would they have the fucking...
It's the unfortunate price to pay to have to play here during the summer.
Yeah, but...
You have to do it, unfortunately.
I guess when you're fucking...
But when they were trying to get the state, like the city to pay for like new, I guess it was like developments to the stadium and such. It's like, we should be able to look elsewhere if the city won't pay. And I mean, I could kind of see it because when I worked there and such, you could see some of the cracks in the wall. It's like, okay, they probably should.
When you worked where?
Oh, it was in the retail store for the Diamondbacks.
I didn't know that. That's lit. That's
it was junior, senior. Well, because later part of college, I thought I'd be going into sports more and stuff, but then I realized how competitive that was. Like, probably it's just better to go in some financial adjacent thing and maybe find my way into sports. Because entering college, it may be hard to believe I wanted to be a police officer. Oh. But you want to know what was my biggest deterrent to becoming a police officer? Uh-huh. Going on a ride along with a police officer and him telling me not to become a police officer.
Oh, wow. Really?
Well, because I was doing this other internship, like at spring training. It's like, you should try to do that if you like doing that stuff more. You don't want to do this. It's like, you deal with such horrible people. And it's like,
Wow.
Are you talking about the
I guess
people
that
you
makes-
arrest or the other officers? And he's like, both.
Damn,
they're
man.
both horrible.
That motherfucker was jaded. He's about to dip out. He's just smoking. He's just fucking drinking a coffee, telling some kid, "Don't fucking do this, bro."
Yeah, he was just like, you don't want to do this for a job.
I get that though.
Yeah.
That would actually make sense.
Because he was just hearing
It's
that I was
not
already
easy.
doing this other pass.
especially
like,
nowadays.
Just do that.
Especially nowadays.
Oh
not-
yeah, well it was before everything really popped up, but it was just more, I guess, because before that it was like when I heard criticism, it was like, oh, it's people who don't do it. But when I saw someone who was actively in the job and then saying don't do it, it's like, okay, maybe I shouldn't do this.
Sure.
And so that was enough of the deterrence away.
Right.
I mean, maybe I could try to work at the sports center, but now it's all the financial stuff because I do the anti-money laundering now. I had a funny moment, and I could show you the video later when I approached my favorite baseball teams, the Oakland A's. Their president, Dave Kavlin, suggested that he have the scouts microdose on acid because when I went to watch college baseball and basketball on acid, I could pay attention to two places at once. And I recorded it, not Adam, but you can hear his voice next to it.
Oh, that's funny.
I don't
as
put
fuck.
it publicly just for his safety, but it's like I have it there. Like he knows I've told, and he even gave me like a straight up answer, like, oh, they were thinking about it like at point, but then in the 90s, computer data analytics came along, so that became the focus.
Right.
It's like this is a man who went to
go scout tripping, bro.
He got his graduate degree at Stanford Business School, and he's hearing me tell him he should have the scouts microdose on acid.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Because it's like, think of something. It's like, gotta think out of the box and such. I don't know. It was whatever at that point.
Right.
Because now it's like it's probably, because I guess when I was working there, you don't get as interested in it, like working on there. You're just more like, I don't feel like paying attention to this when I'm off work.
It's kind of because it's hard to.
It is, because when you hear about it, you just see them all work.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it was kind of interesting, different people to run into and such. And
Oh, so you were running into some people?
there were some, like, they'd come into the team shop because let's say it was one of those special assistants to the GM, like Luis Gonzalez, Rubiel Durazo, and I know Tony La Russa, he came in a few times and such. Yeah. I didn't ask about DUIs at the time. He hadn't had that problem.
Arizona's guy loves picking up athletes with DUIs, bro. I swear we do.
Well, I remember the A's and stuff, they once had a catcher. He got arrested in Scottsdale for pointing a gun at, I believe, like a Uber Eats driver or something.
Oh, nice.
Well, he was drunk and stuff. Bruce Maxwell.
Well, Gilbert
I'm sorry.
Arena, yeah. Gilbert.
We love you, Bruce, but please don't point guns at food delivery people. I remember doing that my junior and senior year and stuff, and you see the different areas and such. And I was on Postmates when you could see where it was going to be delivered to. Before now, it's like, oh, they only show where you pick it up. They're not showing where you're delivering.
Oh.
So you're just like, fuck me, I got to drive like
I'm
20
lucky
hours
that
to this
DoorDash
place.
does show me. DoorDash will show me where now because I'm a top dasher. But actually, in the beginning, it doesn't really show you.
Ah, that's why. God damn it.
You gotta earn it, bro.
I didn't earn my stripes.
Earn
Well,
that
that was only
DoorDash
during
money.
college to earn freaking wax money, so I could use that. It wasn't for anything more than that. But, okay, we're getting towards the end. It's almost getting late. We can wrap this up. Are you wanting to plug anything? Cole Eden Comedy on YouTube. You will get your comedy boner hard when you see this man. Zach,
My little
any other
pre-cum, baby.
social, any other social media stuff?
Cole Eden's comedy got Instagram, on TikTok. I don't really do much shit on there, but hopefully I'll have shows that I can plug one day when I get better. But thank you, Karl. This is lit.
No, it was great to do. And it's just, I like to do it, see like other comedians. Like these are ones who I at least feel have some like potential in the scene. It's like as long as they put in the time, dedication,
Hell
like
yeah.
the work and stuff, they could definitely do it. It's
And
just,
obviously, same goes for you. I like your comedy, so.
yeah, it's just, I don't want to rest on my laurels. That's all I gotta say. I don't want to become one person who's relying on one joke too more. But thank you to the audience. Thank you to the viewers. And what's to say? Oh yeah, you should watch videos of baby turtles being born and they just sprout like hundreds of them from underneath the sand. It's pretty interesting. Later, people.